best UPSC interview guidance by former UPSC board members. 5-pronged approach includes DAF briefing, one-to-one sessions, regional information guidance, feedback by a psychologist, mock interview mimicking the actual interview by former UPSC board members only at KPIAS Delhi. This is the guidance by the best to ace the UPSC race. WhatsApp your DAF to 9133957733 now.
Hello everybody, welcome to KPIAS Delhi's C.A.R.E initiative, Current Affairs through Reverse Engineering.
These are the articles that we'll be seeing today. Let us look into the first article for the day. Year-end Review 2023, Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. So in this year-end review, it has mentioned about Biological Diversity Amendment Act of 2023. Alright, why is this act being amended? To reduce the pressure on wild medicinal plants, to encourage Indian system of medicine, and third, it to facilitate fast tracking of research. Alright, including patent application process, transfer of research results. Alright, and it is doing so without compromising the objectives of United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity and its Nagoya Protocol. Alright, now what are the changes after amending? See, the definition of access now covers a wide array of activities. Okay, access means collecting, procuring or processing any biological resource occurring in or obtained from India or traditional knowledge associated. Alright, so that is the definition of access. It has expanded. Okay, second one, it has codified traditional knowledge. So this ensures protection of established practices, right? Especially for sectors like Ayush. This means that the traditional practices documented in ancient texts are acknowledged and are safeguarded, promoting their authentic use and preventing misappropriation, right? So these two. And the third one is addition of derivative. Now, what is this derivative? The term derivative has been introduced to broaden the scope of byproducts derived from primary biological resources. Alright, so this word was introduced, the scope of access was increased, and traditional knowledge was codified in this amendment, after this amendment. Alright, and 1, 2, 3. Now, fourth provision with respect to compliance is that the foreign entities must obtain prior approval to secure IPR on Indian biological resources. Okay, so these people have to apply first and then they have to secure this IPR approval on Indian biological resources. On the other hand, Indian entities need only to register with the National Biodiversity Authority. Alright, however, if these entities intend to commercialize IPR, NBA's, that is National Biodiversity Authority's prior approval becomes necessary. But at first instance, they only have to register with NBA. Alright, if they want to commercialize this IPR, then prior approval of NBA is necessary for Indian entities. Alright, now coming to penalties. See, this amendment introduced the appointment of an adjudicating officer to oversee inquiries and impose penalties. So there'll be a separate officer appointed to oversee the inquiries and impose penalties. Alright, so please be thorough with this Biological Diversity Amendment Act of 2023. Alright, now consider the following statements with regard to Biological Diversity Amendment Act of 2023. It introduced the appointment of an adjudicating officer to oversee inquiries and impose penalties. This is true, right? We've just seen access under the definition includes collecting, procuring, or processing any biological resource occurring in or obtained from India or traditional knowledge associated. This is also true. We've just seen that this amendment increased the scope of the word access. Foreign and Indian entities must obtain prior approval to secure IPR on Indian biological resources. No, it is only foreign entities. Indian entities actually do not need prior approval to secure IPR. Only if they want to commercialize, then they have to get the approval of NBA, National Biodiversity Authority. All right. So only foreign, not Indian entities. So third statement is wrong. So only two are correct. All right. Now, which of the following statements is correct? The first meeting of the parties, MOP1, to the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety was held in Philippines in the year 2004. It is not Philippines. It is Malaysia. Okay, Kuala Lumpur. So this is wrong. First of all, what is Cartagena Protocol? It is very important theme for prelims. What is Cartagena Protocol? It is a legally binding biosafety protocol. All right. Under Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, under CBD, there are two protocols. One is Cartagena, the other one is Nagoya. All right. This Cartagena is associated with this year, 2000. All right. It entered into force in 2003 and it is legally binding. Nagoya Protocol, on the other hand, it is associated with 2010 and it is also legally binding. All right. So Cartagena Protocol and Nagoya Protocol are very important. Nagoya Protocol actually came into being in Conference of Parties 10 of CBD. All right. So this Cartagena Protocol actually, it will regulate the import and export of living modified organisms to protect biodiversity. All right, that is the first thing. And second thing with respect to Cartagena Protocol is the Advance Informed Agreement Procedure for first international transboundary of LMOs, living modified organisms. All right, and Biosafety Clearinghouse to facilitate Cartagena Protocol. All right, to exchange the info. There is this entity called Biosafety Clearinghouse. All right, so these three are related to Cartagena Protocol. Now, what is related to Nagoya Protocol? It is a legal framework for fair and equitable sharing of genetic resources. Now, you've heard about Aichi targets. Even if you didn't, I'm telling you, Aichi targets, access and benefit sharing agreement. All right, all these are associated with Nagoya Protocol. Now, what are these Aichi targets? Aichi targets were established by the UN Convention on Biodiversity, that is UNCBD, and it consists of 20 specific targets to address and mitigate biodiversity loss across the globe. All right, so this is some briefing about the basics of Cartagena and Nagoya Protocol. All right, now India is not a signatory to the Biosafety Protocol or Convention on Biological Diversity. This is false, right? Because we are doing so much and we are a signatory to it. Now, the Biosafety Protocol deals with genetically modified organisms. This is correct, right? We have just seen everything about Cartagena and Nagoya Protocol and living modified organisms, genetically modified organisms, right? So, this is the answer. Now, year-end review of Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, and this article is related to the Amendment Act. Which Amendment Act? The Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Act of 2023. Alright, what is the context? Delhi, along with Puducherry, is a union territory with a legislature and council of ministers. And the Supreme Court rulings have influenced the power dynamics between Delhi government and the central government, particularly regarding the control over over services in Delhi. Alright, so that's why the amendment is in place. Now, what is happening after the amendment, or what are the highlights of this bill? First one, that it highlights to establish National Capital Civil Services Authority. All right, and Who will be the chairperson of such authority? The CM of Delhi will be the chairperson. The principal Home Secretary and Chief Secretary will be the members. All right, and this particular principal home secretary and chief secretary will be appointed by the central government. All right, and decisions are made by majority vote with a quorum of 2 members for meetings. All right, next, another point of discussion is about the role of lieutenant governor, the discretionary role of lieutenant governor. Okay, the lieutenant governor may act in his sole discretion on matters beyond the legislative competence of Delhi Legislative Assembly or where law mandates it. All right, so this lieutenant governor can exercise his discretionary power only on matters which are beyond the competence of the Delhi Legislative Assembly, not in all matters or wherever the law tells him to do so. All right, so this is one very clearly mentioned in this particular amendment. All right, now lieutenant governor's discretionary power we have seen, and we should also see about who is reporting to the lieutenant governor. When it comes to reporting to the lieutenant governor, secretaries are required to bring to lieutenant governor's attention matters that could lead to controversies involving the Delhi government, central or state governments, and the judiciary. Okay, so the secretaries are required to report to the lieutenant governor. All right, so these are some important points in this particular amendment. All right. Consider the following statements regarding the Government of NCT of Delhi Amendment Bill 2023. The bill establishes the National Capital Civil Services Authority with the Chief Minister of Delhi as its chairperson and the Principal Home Secretary and Chief Secretary of Delhi as its members. This is correct, right? So when one is correct, B is gone. All right. Now, under the bill, the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi is empowered to act in his sole discretion on all matters related. See, if it is all matters, then what is the use of elected body? So this is wrong. Even if you do not know about the amendment, this is outrightly wrong because there is an elected body, elected legislative assembly in Delhi. So if Lieutenant Governor himself is using his discretion and telling him to do this, it won't serve any purpose, right? So second statement is wrong, which means C is correct. You don't even need to read the third statement. All right. Now, consider the following statements. Sikkim has minimum area among the 28 Indian states, Delhi and Puducherry not included. See, this was given in 2006. All right. Goa is the smallest state. All right, so first statement is wrong. Now the confusion is only for second statement because third statement is anyways common to B and D. So you don't need to read the third statement, right? So second statement is Chandigarh had the highest literacy rate among Puducherry, NCT of Delhi and other union territories. All right, so union territories then were different. Now you have, after division or abrogation of article, Kashmir is divided into 2 union territories, right? Okay, so according to 2006 data, Lakshadweep had the highest literacy rate, 86.7, that is approximately 87%. All right, so because the population is very low and then there are some educated, so the percentage will become high, right? Not in absolute terms, in percentage wise. All right, because it's a rate. All right, so second statement is wrong. That means only D is the answer. Even if you do not know about one statement, it's still you would be able to arrive at the answer. All right. Now, year-end review. The Central Goods and Services Tax Amendment Bill 2023. Okay. See, the GST Act actually allows the central government to set up an appellate tribunal on the recommendation of the GST Council. Now, after the amendment, there is a change in qualification of the members of this particular appellate tribunal. Now, what are the changes? Now, the bill allows advocates with at least 10 years of experience to be appointed as the judicial member in this particular tribunal. Okay, and the minimum age to be appointed as a member will be 50 years. All right, so minimum age is 50 years. And what is the age limit, upper limit? The bill increases the age limit for the president of the tribunal from 67 years, current 67 years, to 70 years. Okay, and for the members, it is from 65 years to 67 years. Okay, so these are the changes. What are the changes? This is one change. Now, advocates with at least 10 years of experience can be appointed as judicial members in this appellate tribunal. Second one, the minimum age. This is the upper ceiling. The maximum age, the age limit is for the president of the tribunal, it is increased from current 67 years to 70 years, and for the members, it is increased from current 65 years to 67 years. All right. Consider the following statements with regard to GST Appellate Tribunal. The minimum age to be appointed as a member or president of the tribunal will be 50 years. Yes, for appointment, it is 50 years. Okay, the upper age limit, this is the minimum age, right? Upper age limit is 70 years for the president, and for the members, it is 67. All right, please be very careful with the numbers. Now, the bill allows advocates with at least 10 years of experience to be appointed as its judicial member. This is true, right? So both 1 and 2. These two are the key points in the amendments part, right? Now, consider the following statements about GST Council, which is in news frequently. The GST Council was constituted as per Article 289A. No, it is not 289A, it is 279A of the Constitution after the 101st Amendment Act of 2016 was notified. It is 279A. All right. Now, the GST Council is headed by Union Finance Minister. This is true. Which of the following statements are not correct or incorrect? Please be very careful about this word, yeah. It will ditch your lives and attempts. All right. So, incorrect is only one. Yeah. 55% of patients given antibiotics only as a preventive measure, says a survey. This is so bad, right? Yeah. The survey, what is the context? 55% of the patients were prescribed antibiotics for preventive indications, 45% for therapeutic indications. NCDC survey says so. What is NCDC? It is National Center for Disease Control. All right. Now, what did the survey say? It says that India reveals several important dimensions. Prevalence of prophylactic use. Now, what is this word prophylactic? Prophylactic means it is intended to prevent disease. The word itself means that. Okay. So, over half of the patients surveyed were prescribed antibiotics for prevention rather than treatment of infections. This is a bad indication, right? And this is misuse of antibiotics. It can be considered as a misuse of antibiotics. All right. And 94% of antibiotic prescriptions were empirical, given before a definitive diagnosis was confirmed. Oh, this is again a very, very, dangerous sign. You cannot use antibiotics like however you want. There is a prescription, otherwise it will lead to something called as antimicrobial resistance, and it is very, very dangerous. And the WHO identifies antimicrobial resistance as a major public health threat. All right, so which is actually caused due to excessive and inappropriate antibiotic use. Now, there is use of different antibiotic categories. All right, now what are those categories? Access, watch, and reserve. And it is known as aware. These three groups are together known as aware. All right. So axis group. What are the antibiotics that come under this axis group? See, the antibiotics which are preferred for minimizing the resistance come under the axis group. All right. Now, what are these watch group antibiotics? They are associated with higher risk of developing the resistance. All right. And what are these reserve group of antibiotics? They are used as a last resort. All right. So, see, if you see the numbers, 57% of the doctors who are prescribing antibiotics, or your friends who ever prescribe antibiotics, 57% of the prescriptions were given from this group, watch group. That means they have a high risk of developing resistance. All right. So, one probable prelims question would be aware in health sector is related to. Okay, so please be very, very careful. It is related to this particular theme. All right. Now, consider the following statements regarding the National Center for Disease Control survey on antibiotic usage in India. Over 50% of the patients in the survey were prescribed antibiotics for prophylactic purposes rather than for treating existing infections. This is true. This is a cause of headache, right? You've just seen. So when one is correct, C is gone. Now 2 you don't need to read. Why? Because 2 is not at all there in the leftover options, right? So 2 you can happily eliminate. Now read third statement. Most antibiotics in the survey were administered orally. This is wrong because most of the antibiotics were administered parenterally. All right, which means it is non-oral administration. This indicates a preference for injectable drugs. All right, so around 86%. Okay, this is 86% is huge. So most of them are preferring injectable drugs. All right, not oral prescription. So 3 is gone, that means A is gone. Now, NCDC survey revealed that the majority of antibiotic prescriptions were for drugs in the Axis group. As per WHO's Axis Watch and Reserve. No, this is not. It was in watch category, no? Because that is the cause of danger. And most of the drugs prescribed are coming under this category, antibiotic drugs. So this is wrong. B is gone, only D is the answer. Alright, now with reference to the use of nanotechnology in health sector, which of the following statements are correct? Targeted drug delivery is made possible by nanotechnology. This is true because you need to note the link between nanotechnology and drug delivery. See, nanotechnology actually enables the development of nanoparticles that can be used to deliver drugs directly to specific cells or tissues in the body. All right, and these nanoparticles can be engineered to release the drug at the desired area or the cell. So it will increase the effectiveness, right? And it will also reduce the side effects. All right, correct. Nanotechnology can largely contribute to gene therapy. Yes, it can contribute to gene therapy by providing tools for delivering therapeutic genes to target cells, like the drugs, and its delivery. This nanotechnology will be very, very useful in gene therapies also. All right, and these nanoparticles can be used to safely and efficiently deliver genetic material into the cells. All right, so it allows the treatment of genetic disorders or modification of gene expression. Yeah, so this is also true. C is the answer. 1 year of India Australia ECTA sees gains for both the countries. Now, what is ECTA? It is Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. All right. So the India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement actually was operational since late 2022 and has been beneficial for both the countries in various ways. Now, if we talk in terms of numbers, it would actually justify the statement, right? Now, what are the numbers? India's exports to Australia actually increased by 14%. There's a 14% increase. All right. Whereas from Australia to India, the agri products export from Australia to India actually grew by 50%. All right. So exports from both the countries to the desired country increased. And due to this one, there is a reduction in trade deficit. All right. From $8.6 billion, it got reduced to $5.2 billion. All right. From April to November 2023. All right, so these numbers justify the statement. All right, and from January 1st, 2024, further tariff cuts are expected, making Australian products like seafood and wine more competitive in India. All right, so these are some basics. Consider the following statements about the India Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement (ECTA). The agreement has led to a significant increase in India's exports to Australia with a 14% growth. Yes, India to Australia it is 14% growth, and from Australia to India, the growth in the agricultural products, especially with a significant growth in nuts, meat, and you know especially sheep meat and seafood, the growth was 50% from Australia to India. All right, so first one is correct. When first one is correct, B is gone. 2 is common in all the three options. That means 2 is definitely true. So you don't need to read second statement. Now come to the third statement. The agreement has contributed to a reduction in the trade deficit with Australia, which stood at $5.2 billion between April and November 2022. This is correct. All right. So we've just seen in the basics part. That means A is gone. Under the ECTA, future tariff cuts are planned from January 1st, 2024, which will include Indian exports like textiles and electronics. No, this is wrong. What all will get benefited from the tariff cuts? One is the Indian exports of steel and aluminium, and Australian products like seafood and wine will become more competitive in India. So, textiles and electronics, no. So, C is the answer. Now, the Agreement of South Asian Free Trade Area (SAFTA) came into effect from December 1st, 2005. No, it actually came after 1 month, that is January 1st, 2006. All right. So, this is wrong. When one is wrong, A is gone, C is gone. Now, as per SAFTA agreement terms, India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka have to decrease their customs duties to the level of 0 to 5% by the year 2030. This is true. This is true because the Ministry of External Affairs itself says that SAFTA aimed to reduce tariffs to 0 to 5% over 10-year period. However, it required member countries like India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka to set their custom tariff under 5% by 2013. All right, whereas it permitted the LDC countries like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, and Nepal a longer time frame to reduce or eliminate tariffs by 2016. So this is correct. B is the answer. Now, first of all, what is the SAFTA? Some basic points. Actually, first we would have done this SAFTA basic part, and then we would actually solve this question. But now I am doing it the other way for this question. What is SAFTA? It is South Asian Free Trade Area. Okay, it is a free trade arrangement of C.A.R.E. Okay, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. This particular agreement actually came into force in the year 2006. I just told you, right? And what did it succeed? It succeeded the 1993 C.A.R.E Preferential Trading Arrangement. All right, and the SAFTA recognizes the need for special and differential treatment for LDCs. Okay, now what are these LDCs? These are the least developed countries. All right, so the countries which are least developed and the countries which are moving at a faster pace in development, both cannot be treated equally. So there has to be some kind of concession for these kind of countries. That's why the time period of reducing the tariffs was more for these countries, whereas for India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka it was 2013. All right, So B is the answer.
This is it for today. All the best.